Good morning, everyone, and welcome back into the Daniel Saul Show, where your passion meets the truth. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing boxing, specifically Ryan Garcia, and his latest statements on X and how it's affected him and the sport of boxing in a whole. But before this video goes any further, let me quickly remind you to go down in the description and check out the links to my socials. Make sure you go follow them, especially my new X pages, the Daniel Saul Show X and my own personal. Let's get into the video. Breaking news in the sport of boxing, as the King, Ryan Garcia, was recently expelled by the WBC after using racial slurs on social media platform X, where he stated, and I quote, "I hate blank. Hey, let's go bring George Floyd back to life and kill that blank again." His parents came out and made a statement because of his remarks on X and stated, and I quote, "Our son has recently made statements that do not align with his or our family's true character or belief. Our family unequivocally does not support any statements Garcia made regarding race or religion. These do not reflect who Ryan truly is and how he was raised. Those who know Ryan can attest to this fact. Ryan has been open about his ongoing struggle with mental health over the years, and as a family, we are committed to ensuring and encouraging that he receives the necessary help to navigate this very challenging time and address both his immediate and long-term well-being. We appreciate the continued support, prayers, and compassion." So what I think about this entire thing, I think it is pretty safe to say that Ryan Garcia needs help. I understand that a certain community that he offended is extremely hurt and offended by it. Now, will I say that he is a racist for what he said? No, I don't think he's a racist at all. I think it's safe to say that he has mental problems. And, I think it is safe to say that now, after dealing with and everybody seeing over the internet what he has said since before the Haney fight, right? Everybody thought he was crazy going into the Haney fight. There were questions as to if the fight was even going to happen at first. And now we're realizing that he really is going through it. And I don't think that, obviously, what he said was wrong. It was definitely wrong. And there deserves to be a punishment. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make him a racist or a bad person. What it does is show how much help he needs. It shows how badly he needs the help. And it shows that he is seriously ill. And when you look at Garcia and his, in recent history, what he has been showing us, that he is not okay in the head, I think we all need to understand that that is a problem within, himself. And somebody's got to do something about it, because it doesn't seem like he's doing anything about it. And that's the problem with him in this entire situation. I really think that the Gervonta Tank Davis loss had an effect on him on another level, because before that, he was perfectly fine, right? You're talking about a guy who was dedicated, a guy that was just sharp in the mind. He was all about boxing. He was so serious. And when he lost and came up short and got stopped by Gervonta Tank Davis, I think it ultimately broke him. It just did. It broke him mentally and spiritually. And I feel like because of that, he is where he is today. And I just don't see how that's that bad, because did you see how Frank Martin lost to Gervonta Tank Davis? Because that's not how Ryan Garcia went out. And the problem with it is that Ryan Garcia beat Oscar Duarte a few months after the Tank fight and knocked him out. He knocked out a knockout artist in Oscar Duarte. Yes, that's not a name like Gervonta Tank Davis, but he still shows how powerful he is and how well he can perform. And on top of that, he goes against one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today, in Devin Haney, and knocks him down 3 times in the fight. And because he supposedly cheated, which I still don't believe he cheated at all, because of that, they took the win away from him, and it is now a no contest, so nobody gets a win or a loss on their record. I believe that is completely asinine. I think it's bogus. I don't think that it should have happened. I think it's insane. I think that Ryan Garcia deserves that win, and he deserves his credit because the way he beat up Devin Haney is something that we will probably never see again unless he fights a Gervonta Tank Davis or whatnot. But the reality is that I don't know if Ryan could fight Devin again and do that same exact thing because everybody was against Ryan but me. I thought Ryan was going to win just off of his pure power and his speed. And what happened? Devin Haney doesn't have the best guard. He gets hit while going in. And I said that a lot. I said him and Canelo Alvarez. You can go back and look at the tapes. I said him and Canelo Alvarez get hit a lot when they're going in. But nobody that Devin Haney has faced has had the power that Ryan Garcia has. And that's the thing you got to understand is that because of that and because of when they went up against each other in the matchup, Devin Haney's a pure boxer. He was winning most of the rounds. But when Ryan Garcia in his little spurts was going in and going all out, he was absolutely killing Devin Haney. And because of that, he got the decision win over Devin Haney. The Gervonta Tank Davis loss really has an effect on Ryan Garcia, and we don't know why. We really don't know why. And to be honest with you, he was so much more dedicated. He was so much more of an actual boxer. The things that he said, the way he acts, everything was a lot different then than it is now. And I just feel like because of that, and because of what we're seeing Ryan do, I think it has to do with the Tank fight. But in all seriousness, he's not going to quit till he gets the rematch. And now after all that he just said and everything that's been going on, I don't know if he will even, I don't know if he'll even get the rematch. I don't know if he'll ever get the rematch. And that's something that he really wants, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. It's also not going to beat the first fight because the first fight was electric. The first fight was all time, and it was so good. The fight was good, and I don't think that anything that they're going to do again is going to beat that and is going to make that fight look any worse or better. I just think that I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think he's going to get the fight now, and nobody's going to want to deal with him. So after the suspension, he's probably going to have to go back to fighting nobodies because the reality is no big fighter is going to want to fight him. They're not going to. They might want to fight him because they want to shut him up, but who knows? They might think he's going to be on steroids for crying out loud. I don't know, which I don't believe he would be, but I think that that's what they're probably going to believe, and because of that, they're not going to want to fight the guy. And I just don't believe that that should be the case. But when it comes to this entire racial slur thing, he was completely wrong. I'm pretty sure he offended Muslims as well. He is a Christian. He's not a Muslim. He's already come out and said countless times that he has no problem with Muslims. He has Muslim friends and all this stuff. He has problems. He has something wrong with him, and he needs to be helped. He needs to go to therapy, go to rehab, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. He needs to go do that because the reality is how he is acting out on social media and in public. And what we're seeing is not the Ryan Garcia in which we saw beforehand, before the Tank Davis fight. And now after the Tank Davis fight, we're seeing a completely different guy and a guy that we don't even recognize. And now it's a completely different guy. Completely different guy. We don't know who he is. And the reality is that that's a problem when it comes to the sport of boxing. I think that he is one of the faces of boxing because of this issue. And I think that that's a bad way to be the face of boxing. And I think that it's a bad way to represent the sport of boxing. And when it comes to the sport of boxing and the fans and the other fighters and everything, the promoters, this is a bad look on the sport of boxing, and they need to get this. They need to get a handle of this because the reality is that he is making things worse for everyone, and he needs to fix his problems because everybody likes Ryan Garcia. A lot of people do like Ryan Garcia. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people do, and I am one of them. And I am a supporter of Ryan Garcia. And let me tell you something. I wanted him to win the Haney fight. I will want him to win every single fight that he faces from now on. You know why? Because I want him to succeed. I like the guy. But his problems now are making not only himself, but the sport of boxing look horrible, and he needs to fix it before it gets out of hand, because it kind of already has gotten out of hand. So the reality is he needs to go to rehab and fix his problems, because if not, people are going to think he's a racist, and people are going to think that he is crazy, people are going to think that he is out of his mind, and the reality is he's not a racist, he's not against other religions, he's just not right in the head, he's ill. And we have to help him because if not, he is going to get worse. So somebody's got to do something about it, and they need to act fast.